Thanks for being here. You work for Mellow.
Yes.
So how did you end up in e-skating?
How did I end up in e-skating? It's a little bit by mistake. I was filming. In general, I worked in snowboard media for about 10 years. I was an editor at a Method magazine, and there I was filming, blogging, social media, and I eventually started my own filming production company. So I was open to freelance work, and I eventually got a call from another snowboard filmer I know, and he offered a job of a friend of his that needed a video for a Kickstarter project, which was for an electric skateboard. And naturally, I laughed.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't take it very serious at first, but it was a job. It was better than making a video for a pharmaceutical company. And and then I gave it a try, but I ended up getting quite into electric skateboarding much more than I thought. Like, I kind of get pretty obsessed by things.
So you made that video?
I made the Kickstarter video.
Was that the video where I had like the big chunky remote? Like the
the RC remote? Yeah. So
cool.
we used to film with the RC remote for a long time, and we'd have to try to hide it in the shots because it just didn't look very sexy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was in the beginning. We weren't using a real Mellow remote took a good while. I think it took maybe a year and a half after the Kickstarter to actually be using the Mellow remote.
Who actually came up with the remote?
The remote design?
Because it's so different than any other remote that I've used.
Yeah. So there was a first, prototyping of the look of the Mellow, which was what we saw in the Kickstarter, which was this more duotone metallic and black. I always say it was a bit more transformer-y. And then there was a product designer that was working for us, Andy, and he revised the look and the feel of it all to a little bit more of a refined, I guess you could say a bit more sophisticated compared to the first look of it. I have a tendency to say that most of our things are, you could say he's a bit Mac or Apple inspired, because everything from the remote to the drive is a rounded cornered box with buttons in the center, a bit like your iPhone. So that's
like the home button, right?
Exactly. So it looks like kind of a phone.
So what made Mellow push for that waterproofing?
Well, they're from Hamburg, which I think it rains like 150 days a year there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quote me on that, but it feels like it sometimes. Except that since I've living in Hamburg, I don't know if it's global warming or not, but it seems like it doesn't rain that much actually in Germany. I was quite under the impression it rained quite a bit. I remember one time I was filming in the east of Germany, and we had to film, it was a promotional video for a video contest we were going to do, and we ended up having to film under a bridge the whole day because it rained the whole 3 days we were there. And I asked the guy we were with, it's actually the original guy who got me to work with Mellow, who recommended the job for me. And I asked him, how do you say drought in German? And he said, we don't have that word. But it seems, as of recently, it doesn't rain that much in Hamburg as it once did. So the point of my answer is, in Hamburg is a port city. It's notorious for being wet and raining for weeks on end. So it had to be a water-resistant board.
But if you look at the water resistance of the Mellow, it's superior beyond all the other brands.
Yeah.
So what makes Mellow so waterproof? What do you do that all the other brands forget? Is it the sealing of the bearings?
Yeah, so let me give anybody a warning out there before we get too caught up in like technical specs and how many watts there are in each component. I'm a skater, snowboarder, filmer, so I'm a bit more on the other side of the brain. But as far as I understood, it's sealed. Everything is really. I visited the TQ factory where they're making the drives, and they actually, when they're doing quality control, they're putting the drive, they pump it full of air in the Rosenberg connector, and then they see if water comes out when they're pumping the air through it, so that it's fully air sealed. And of course, there's some that it seem to be a bit more sealed than others. And they're very high sealed. There's a Gore-Tex sealant around the whole component inside of it. And it's very, very, very sealed, very compact, very tested. And let's say the ones that don't pass the test 100% are what you now know as a Mellow S. So that's why we don't grade the Mellow S's as high as waterproofing. They pass all the same testings, but if they're maybe a little bubble comes out during a test, okay, that's going to be a Mellow S. But the full sealed ones is what we back behind the IP65, which is the quote unquote complete Mellow. Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't know that about the Mellow S.
That it's not considered fully water resistant.
Well, no, I knew it wasn't water resistant. I didn't do that. It was the batch that was not tested 100% waterproof.
Yeah, it's kind of like we have little grades of what passes through water through the quality control, and so they're going to be water resistant for the most part. It's just
awesome.
Your warranty won't cover it. So just again, be careful. It can handle a little splish and splash, but you might get a bill from customer service if you're on a Mellow S.
It's always stupid to drive through wet weather though, because the wheels are sleek. You driving around on wet asphalt. It's a slippery road. Yeah,
I feel that as long as you're not slaloming around, I think it's okay. You just got to ride with your weight quite central, flat, no sudden turns. Don't ride on marble, obviously, or metal surfaces when it's wet. But if you have a kind of grippy cement, it's going to work fine. I think these big fat urethane wheels are okay. But yeah, for the most part, we tell people, like, if it's raining, don't go out with your Mellow. But if you get caught in the rain, get to where you're going. You're going to be okay. Like, I've definitely put these boards through a lot of water.
And one of the parts where you test the Mellow is the airport, right? There's an abandoned airport in Berlin where I see all the Mellow videos come from.
Yeah, that's a bit more Matz's neighborhood. That's in Berlin. That's Tempelhofer Feld. So it's the old... is that a Nazi airport?
It's an old airport.
Okay,
an old airport? Whoa.
Nothing. It's just it's the old airport. It's been around for over a century now, and they close it, and it's become a little bit of a hub for extreme sports. For years, there's windsurf skateboarders out there, and just everyone hanging out. It's a big playground for adults. It's a big backyard for people that have a small apartment in Berlin.
Yeah. Also, the same as in the Netherlands, the electric skateboards are not legal in Germany, right?
Yeah, it's definitely doesn't say anywhere in the legislation that this thing is legal.
Because that's where Mellow does the whole demonstration.
Yeah, it's not so much us doing it. It's more the guys from Electric Empire. They're the guys that are willing to put on a shirt and suit and go and talk to lawmakers and get some straight answers and represent us as a whole. They do a really good job of that, of giving us a good face. I think if I walked into a minister's office, he'd be a little bit less convinced with my backwards cap and a poorly shaven beard. So yeah, we go, we protest, we say what we got to do, we make our noise in the road, and we hope we get noticed. But yeah, as we see in this world, lots of protesting is going on, but I'm not sure if it's changing much.
Do you think it's going to be legalized somehow, or
is it going to get changed because of our protests? I'm not sure. I don't know. This isn't like official a Mellow position. I personally feel laws change if money can be made. Mm-hmm. So if the state sees where the revenue is going to funnel in from, and whether it be insurance fees or it creates a side business for the shrinking automobile company, since we have to use less and less cars, this is somewhere where I can see Germany hop on the boat and see it as a economic endeavor as a nation, that we should be on the forefront of the, as in French we call it, the mobilité douce, soft mobility. So yeah, I don't know. I come from the US, I come from France. It's a bit different the way you approach laws. Mm-hmm. In France, you do something until someone tells you you're not allowed to. Or in America, we had a bit of this thing like, if don't ask for permission so that they can't tell you can't. But yeah, you pay for the price for it. I've had boards end up in quote unquote jail. I had a board in jail for 6 months
But you get it back after a while, right?
I got it back, and I also got a fine for 400 euros that came with it. For the 2 years, I've been not taking a train. I could say that's maybe the equivalent in money I've saved. I don't know if it's a good way to justify it, but yeah, I didn't get bothered for the entire year, and then once I got stopped in 2 months.
Yeah.
I got stopped twice in a month.
Because you're also a semi or a professional skater, right? Because I've seen you do some tricks.
I'm a professional nothing. Yo, Vincent. So I'm a media guy. So I'm the guy who couldn't keep up with what you had to be as a professional snowboarder. I was getting injured too much, and when I was trying to start to hit jumps and get out there, and I slowly started to realize, okay, I can stay on the mountain if I learn how to use a camera and make videos, and that's kind of what I became. But over the past 10 years, I've flopped from being behind the camera to in front of the camera. When it came a time to start making YouTube videos, of course they picked the guy without the funny German accent to do the videos, and yeah, I resisted to that a little bit. I didn't want to do this sort of YouTube videos. I didn't think I had much to say about it. But then people said, yeah, what you do is kind of funny and people understand you, so do some more. And so I ended up a bit more in front of the camera, but I still film things as well. So I'm neither a professional filmer or a professional skater. That's like I'd put
Just
it.
in between both.
Yeah.
Well, but I do like all the videos that you make.
Thanks.
They're really cool.
A lot of the higher quality stuff is not made by me. So we have Themis from The Thing About Greece. He did all of that series last year was Can Your E-Skate Do This? And he did all of our city tours last summer, the Mellow City experiences through Berlin, Munich, Hamburg, and you can see all that on the YouTube channel. I've been doing the Mellow Show videos, and those are a little bit less pro because we don't have our in-house filmer anymore. He was doing all of the product reviews and everything, so I went back to filming stuff again, but it became me with the camera on a tripod. And now recently we got a new young filmer, and so our videos are looking good again. And we also got the guys from Berlin filming stuff as well. What's so funny, Matze? Our videos are good again. Yeah, there was a couple of shaky ones. I don't know if you saw. Over the winter, I made one for the e-skate lights, and it's just, the sound isn't as good as it used to be. The lighting's not so good, but oddly, it seems like people appreciate less high-end content for some reason. I come from snowboarding where you make these epic, high-quality videos with a story and a setting and these, what we call setup shots where it tells the story and lays down the story and shows the characters. But here you want to kind of just people talking in front of camera, low quality video, maybe 360 footage or GoPro footage. So it seems in e-skating there's a bit of a culture of, let's say, like shotgun production, like just go grab your camera, film yourself kind of stuff. And so you got to adapt to what the people sort of like and are used to. And since there's this whole Casey Neistat culture, it shows really that there's a bit more of appreciation for that kind of video.
Do you think that the vloggers are actually the brand ambassadors for the electric skateboards?
Are they the brand ambassadors? I would say they're the voice because it's a decentralized media. There is no eskatenews.com. That doesn't exist. We're in every other, whether it be surfing, volleyball. Or
Yet though, probably after this podcast, there will be...
You should go for it. I've pushed for a few guys. There's the guys in Singapore who do, is it electricskateboardhq.com? So it's a pretty good attempt at it. There's not much of a following, but they do the good. So they do product reviews. It doesn't have more of what I would like coming from board sports cultures where there would be videos and reports on these guys skated to, they brought their e-skates to Egypt, and make some nice pictures, like that happens in skateboard magazine, skateboard videos. They don't have too much of that, but it really could be good, and it could be a hub where, the latest boosted video could be shown alongside the latest Evolve video or a new Mellow Tinder video, and I think it would be good if they had that. Or I'm making the mistake of being too old school and thinking things need to be structured like that anymore. Because if you follow what's going on in skateboarding and surfing, all those magazines are falling one by one. First, they stopped printing, and then as websites, they couldn't generate revenue, and there's not much left of those. So that's a bit new world. I mean, old world, and new world is more YouTube. And so, yeah, coming back to your question, I think the vloggers are the voice. So they're kind of the news. But I feel that they're a little bit all doing, for the most part, the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got this new board out of the box. Watch me open it. Get envious of me opening this new thing.
I always think that the unboxings, they take so long. I was like, there's the same shot in every unboxing where they just cut open the box. I'm like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, I try to psychologically understand why people watch videos in those ways. I think there's a bit of an envy of humans have this affinity to like watching a new thing being opened. And my other theory on why people like vlogging videos of this style of looking right at the camera is, I think in a world where we're all so on the go, and if we're not on the go, we're in front of a computer, that if someone stops and looks at you in the eyes and talks directly to you, it's quite satisfying, or it's something you're missing. So I think it's what people get out of this guy with a camera in his face.
Yeah. I can understand that though.
Yeah.
Now you're mentioning it, actually when I watch it, I actually take my time to look at a video like that, to see how they unbox something. You know, when there's a new board, the retailers, they always, the manufacturer always forget about the retailer for the unboxing. So we have to watch the YouTubers.
Yeah.
And every time when I look at the unboxing, I actually take my time and I look the guy in the eye and like, holy shit, you know, he's telling
the honest.
Yeah, the pros and cons of the board.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the product.
That's the thing too. It's such a mysterious product you're buying from a mysterious source sometimes, and people don't know what to get, so they kind of have to feel reassured they're about to risk their 500, 800, 2,000 euros on something because another guy tried it. But often it's just the board out of the box in the first week. So yeah, I think everyone knows that we should see more videos of people. What is their board doing 6 months later? What is their board doing after a year or a winter rolling through water?
Because you never see that, right? You never see the videos of the, let's call it the China boards.
Yeah.
That are beaten down after 2 months and they won't drive anymore. You
I
always see
think
the
all
unboxing
brands,
and that's it.
All brands could need to show that a little bit more. Even we want to show a bit more. We asked people to show their screen grabs of showing their mileage counters and everything. Like we have guys like Ronnie Sarmiento, and he's making videos with the same drive he's had he's traveled all over the U.S. He's on a plane. It was sometime very soon. He's going to the Philippines with a Mellow, so he's gonna go right around there. So check out his channel. He's one of my favorite e-skate vloggers because he comes from he's a, let's say, quote unquote real or old, like classic skater, but he's not too cool for e-skates. So a bit like Fab Trav, and so he makes for, he can ride well, but he also is excited about the electric vehicles, and he does some cool stunts. He can do some shove-its, and he makes it look good. I think you have to be able to convince people that are beyond the gadgets and stuff. We got to make it look good to seduce the bigger public.
Is a Mellow more a gadget or an add-on to your life?
For some people, it replaces their car. For some people, it's a toy they use on some Sundays that maybe their life is too busy to even use it enough. I think for a lot of people, they're not sure if they're really going to use it as much as they hope. And yeah, I think it's a toy. So that's when people start getting a little bit hard to justify something over 1,000 euros if it's just a toy. Mm-hmm. So
what's the whole thing with Mellow? When are you going to go to Australia? That's a question we get a lot.
Yeah, when do we deliver Australia? We did have one pallet that went to a shop in Australia. I think the delivery fees were pretty high, but it did get sold pretty fast. And I don't know if the shop, it's a bit more Matz's department, if wanted to do it again, but it's also Evolve country, so to each is his own.
Germany as well, right? Because you got Evolve Germany, so that's.
Yeah, but I just think I don't really know, but I'm assuming if you ride an electric skateboard in Australia, probably 4 out of 5 are evolves. That's kind of my guess. I don't know though. It's the same way in Germany. I think 50% of electric skateboards are mellows in Germany.
Hey, really good distribution channel there. It's difficult to find.
Yeah, we gotta find a
Really
good.
strong partner.
Yeah, because you recently also started in the US, right? Like a year ago.
So yeah, we're distributing only in the U.S. We don't have a distributor in Australia yet, but of course it's something we'd want to expand to. Yeah, for now, Australians have to pick up a mellow when they come through on a European vacation, and they have to also sacrifice the warranty because you're not going to be getting.
We actually have Australians
unless you want to pay for the deliveries.
We have Australians coming into our store asking, like, hey, can I bring it on a plane? Can I take it with me? And they just buy, like, hey, I want to have it right now. Just take it with me. I need to have it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the luxury of these shops that are. This is such a digital product from a digital world. These e-skates. So when you guys there's a walk-in store like this, it makes them it materializes the immaterial, which you always see online.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool. It makes it believable. You can touch and feel it, and you believe the future that you're seeing on the internet, and you start to picture it in your life as well. That maybe I can have this thing as instead of my motorcycle or my car.
So last question before we have to round up, because it's almost time for the group thing over here. Not quite sure if all these people are here for riding skateboards though. So what does the future has in store for Mellow? What does the future has in store for Mellow? What's gonna happen next?
What's gonna happen next? High speeds into the future.
High speeds into the future.
Wow.
Yeah, we have our pipeline is always being a little bit slowed down. We always wanted to get there's hardware that was promised in the Kickstarter, which didn't come around, which is always what we're trying to get to. So for hardware, we want to eventually get the 4x4 and the off-road, but we can't give you a date yet, so stop asking. I'm just kidding. So those things we'd like to get to eventually. Otherwise, concretely, what we can say, we're actually going to have a new cruiser comes out. So we finished we're almost sold out of our Buddy Buddy series, which is what you've seen since the Kickstarter launch. We're going to be doing a new cruiser, which comes out, I think, next week. So it's Olsen Heckmati, another German board producer, high quality boards made in Germany.
Are those they also make the square boards, right?
No, so the square boards is eMobility. That's the Berlin project that Mats is part of. Those are just they tried to make the board from Back to the Future and make it out of wood, and just this very simple board, which is a really fun board to try as well. In my opinion, it's a little bit narrow for the Mellow, but it's cool if you have small feet. I got a size 12, so I'm a bit biased. But they're really fun, and it's actually, they have these smaller trucks too that are a bit like from the old school, so you get a different riding feel to a classic board. But for our actual cruiser, it's Olsen Heckmati, and it's a really nice, plain, all wood board. So you'll see that on our channels coming out next week. And also for the future, this summer, we are going to be in London in June, and we're going to be in Paris in July. And doing, hopefully, I'm going to really push for a bit more travel videos. Maybe you'll see me doing some traveling in Greece. You're probably wondering why I always see stuff in Greece. It's because I'm half Greek, so I go there quite often. And it's a great country to explore. And I really want to get people to rediscover places. Like maybe you went to Berlin already a couple times, but have you gone with your e-skate? It makes for a whole new trip, and you don't have to go halfway around the world to feel a new experience, or go traveling with a train and a board and break your back. No, I'm just kidding. No, and travel, it's like slow traveling. So it becomes a bit more of like a adventure, and you get off here and it just makes what could be just a regular town into a fun place, because suddenly you just have to find a 2 kilometer road with a really smooth cement, or maybe you found a nice bank, and the same way skateboarders explore places where suddenly a place, just because it has 3 stairs and a rail, no, it's not interesting to anybody else, but suddenly it's interesting to you because you see it differently, and it's a fun way to travel, and you can go to really boring towns, but really boring towns often had roads made recently, so they have really nice cement, and you can go where there's no cars in the middle of nowhere, and so a little bit hopefully showing more people how to travel with the Mellow, and which is again one of the big USPs of the Mellow. You can take it on.
What's the biggest travel hack for the Mellow? When you go through customs or through security.
The biggest travel hack, I've seen some people that can charge their laptop with a Mellow. Otherwise, you can bring basically as many batteries you want. Some guys that know the laws, some people need to be persuaded into you telling them that it's my power bank. But I think technically at our watt hours, you can take 6 of them. I've heard some. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard you can actually.
24? You brought 24 batteries?
Yeah, 24 batteries on an airplane. I heard it's actually unlimited, but it's. Yeah, it's okay. Like
that wasn't Ryanair, right?
That wasn't Ryanair. It was Air Norway.
Or Norwegian Air or something?
Huh?
Norwegian Air?
What's up, guys?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
We got everyone coming in for the event. All the one-wheelers we saw from yesterday, and
Holy shit.
yeah, this whole crew was there yesterday too in The Hague. But just to wrap it up for the traveling, like it's just we keep pushing it. We want to see how much they let us, and it went from bringing just the batteries in your backpack to bringing the board and the having the board and the drive, but take it in pieces in your bag and your carry-on. To like with Killian, he just tested walking in with the cruiser with the battery in, and like it goes. It depends, but we've heard problems of someone going into the U.S. once. He just made him have to check it in underneath the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, you get more of a problem with the length of the board than the actual electric skateboard. So
some airlines, they classify it as a blunt object, right?
No, I think it's just that it's too long to have a piece of wood on carry-on. Yeah, a blunt object that you can start knocking people out with. I don't know. So yeah, it's just the hack. It would really key one. It's bring a little tiny board and get used to that. So practice it so you can travel with your board, or you go and if you really got to go somewhere for 2 weeks, like invest in a new board. Go to a local skate shop when you get there and give a little business at the local skate shop. You'll probably have some old decks. Old longboards often can sell for under 100 euros. So it's going to be cheaper than your scooter rental or a car rental. And yeah, you can also give it to someone before you leave, or you can do like Ronnie Sarmiento. He uses a foldable board.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to say it's pretty solid. So yeah, for traveling, foldable board. My travel hack to not worry about the airplane is I don't actually take planes anymore. So just always have your battery with you so you can keep your stuff charged and take your time. Yeah,
awesome.
Travel closer, but like just be a bit more curious and explore with your e-skate. It makes for a new adventure.
If you could ask the Mellow audience that's listening one thing, what would you ask? Well, you can actually ask them now.
Do you own a drone?
Is that a question? Do you want to have like Mellow drone videos?
No, I often try to understand who is the Mellow rider.
Yeah.
Like who are these people? And sometimes it feels like it's a guy who owns a drone or a 3D printer or used to play too much Pokemon Go. I don't know. What do I want to ask the people? Matsu, what do you want to ask the Mellow owners? Are you ready to sacrifice your car?
Wow.
Are you really
Question.
Are you really ready to sacrifice your car? Because if in the near future they're gonna tell us, you can't go everywhere with your car, especially if you're a young, healthy person. So yeah, like start getting used to it. We complain our whole way over here with 2 bags and 10 batteries in our bag, but we got here. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to be a little bit more tough, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
And ask them to send in the airport pictures though.
Send in the airport pictures. Post your videos with the Mellow Boards hashtag, and help us spread the word out there and show people you use it and show the benefits of it. And and yeah, be part of it. Like I said before, it's like all these people making the videos. It's the voice. Like it's we're a community and a unified voice. So come out to these rides and meet up with us in Paris and London this summer, and let's win some races. There's going to be some Mellow drives to win in London and in Paris. For people that don't own them, Paris is going to be a bit more race oriented, and London we're trying some bit more like alley cat treasure hunt style events and games. So bring your regular skateboard and your friends, and you can also go home with a Mellow drive. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it.
awesome. I'm happy to be here. See,
Cool.
it's time to ride. It's
Yeah.
good weather. You got lucky
Let's meet with the
weather.
group outside.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
Cheers.